Welcome to Common Unity, the podcast that unveils the unique life stories shaping the individuals of today.
Often, it's scary, right? When you're going to start a business, and I've had a few people be like, how do you just take the leap?
When you play to your strengths, you experience ease, excellence, and enjoyment.
Yeah, right time, right place, but you put yourself in that place. That luck never happened without all the work that led to you being in that place at that time.
Who cares how people look at them? Whatever keeps you ticking, until you get to the next thing and figure it out.
Join us as we unravel the triumphs, challenges, and pivotal moments that have crafted the past of our guests. I'm Jason Fox.
And I'm Nick Fennell.
Let's get into the show.
And I was scared to sign the lease. It's a massive one. It's down the mountain. It's, you pay by the square metre. Okay, so what happens if someone else gets that space and does what you want to do? And then I was like, nah, I'm signing. Yeah. So many people don't make up after funerals. It's the one thing, that people are like, oh, we haven't spoke since the funeral. And you hear it all the time. Can we just do this? Even just fill out a few pages, your favourite song, your best childhood memory.
And welcome back to Common Unity. Today we've got a guest that's new to both Nick and I. Anna has been following us, so I appreciate your support on Instagram and listen to a few of our podcasts, and actually knows Gabs. So not here with Gabs today because obviously Nick's taken his place, but welcome to the podcast, Anna.
Hello. Nice to meet you both.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. It's I'll tell you what, it's actually really difficult to get female guests.
Oh,
I don't know if it's because we're males or what, but we really struggle to get females, so it's really awesome to have you here today.
Oh, thank you.
We know that you've got a bit of a story to tell, and if you've got a few things you want to share, and if we were going to start the story somewhere, where would you like to start it? Would you like to start it back when you were at school? Where do you think your journey of where you are now begins?
Well, I don't know. It depends what part of where I am now we're talking about.
Yeah.
Wasn't that great at school.
Love it.
Probably worst move was going to Mount College. It was far too close to the beach. I was found there most days.
Yep.
Didn't do great at school. Wasn't the greatest teenager. Age 17, I was already working in a restaurant up here, and they asked me if I wanted to go and manage a restaurant in Masterton.
Oh, wow.
So I just basically told my mum I'm moving in 2 days to Masterton. Hated it.
Is that an attractive place to move to?
No, I just didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
And then, lasted a few months there, and then they said, do you want to go manage the big one in Nelson? So went to Nelson and had probably the best 2 years of my life.
Yeah.
Just new place. No one knew who I was. My best friend ended up coming and living with me, and we ran the restaurant down there and got into all sorts of trouble.
So 18, 19 now?
18.
18.
Yeah.
It's young to be running a restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah. So I worked from them when I left school, so would have been 16.
What makes you qualified to run a restaurant at 18? Just a legend.
Just know how to carry plates and talk shit.
That's a big part of it. Oh,
really? Yeah. But loved it down there, met heaps of amazing people, and then came back, pregnant at 19.
Yeah, it's all right. We've got a 22-year-old daughter as well.
Came back to Tauranga.
Yeah, came back here, was here for a while before falling pregnant. And then obviously massive life change. Now he's turning 19 in a month.
So the pregnancy is what brought you back? So you got
Nah. I wasn't pregnant down there. I fell pregnant when I was back here.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of all a blur with timeline.
Yeah.
And then mum life.
So teen mum, yeah.
Yeah. And then
It teaches you a lot of lessons, doesn't it? When all your mates are out partying, doing different things, and you're stuck at home raising a child and being a grown-up real quick.
Wouldn't say grown up, but trying to parent.
Throwing that word out there. C for 6.
Yeah, and then kind of got back into the workforce when he was about 6 months old. Life wasn't that great, so I had to go back to work. Looking back now, I guess back then postnatal depression and all that wasn't really a thing. Social media wasn't a thing, so kind of just thought I was just losing my mind. Went back to work, and then got back into solid work when he was about 3, and then worked in retail, and then I guess dabbled in a few different areas, social services, and I've always kind of wanted to do social services and things to do with the courts and justice system. But then I also got thrown into the beauty world, not on purpose as well. So, yeah.
How'd you get thrown in there?
I have done spray tanning probably for about 15 years.
Yeah.
Started in basically my bathroom. Every few years got moved around the house to a better area, and then purpose-built a salon for spray tanning and hired a friend of mine to do nails. So I was just doing spray tanning on the side, and then the nail tech got quite sick and had to finish up, and I just had to learn it fast.
Nail side of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Did the spray tanning come from a need or a want to be there for your child and still earn an income with that flexibility, so it fit around your life? Is that sort of what?
Yeah, and because I'm so pasty, I was like, well, instead of paying someone else to do it, I'll just do it myself.
Sure, yeah. If I can be tan, everyone can be.
Yeah.
Okay, good
So there were a lot of drunken nights spray tanning when people hadn't actually booked in and things like that. But yeah, it was fun.
Anyone come through looking like Ross, bright orange with white teeth?
When I was training myself, I used enough to tan probably 15 people on my friend. Sure. It was quite funny.
I think I saw someone like that at the gym today, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, really?
Yeah.
It still happens?
Yeah, it does with self-tan.
So you glanced over a lot of things there. How did you find those first 3 years of motherhood?
Terrible.
You said I had a child, and then at 3 years I went back to work. We just glanced over 3 years because I got
It was terrible. I had a child to not the greatest person. He was great when we were together. Probably about 6 months into the pregnancy, he just decided to go off the rails. And then, when he was probably about 3 months old, just everything started getting terrible. He decided to get all caught up in meth and...
Oh, yes, that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't know if we want to talk about that.
No, we don't need to dive into it too much.
But and then, shit just hit the fan. So
solo mum.
Yeah.
And were you flatting, or were you living in your own place? Or with your parents,
living by myself.
Yep.
Booted him out. And then, it was just my son and I for a while. One of my best friends ended up flatting with me for a few years, and she kind of saved my life. So, helped me when I was going to work and things like that, and kind of had to hide it all from my mum because didn't want her to freak out. Yeah.
Must have been stressful times. Yeah.
But makes you who you are, right?
Makes you stronger, doesn't it? I've got a very strong wife called Anna as well. She was pregnant at 17, raised 2 children from a very young age, and so we met when we were 30. So I've raised 2 children for the last 10 odd years, or 10 years now. But very, very, very strong woman. So I'm sure you are too. Yeah. Either comes with a name or the experience, or both.
Both, yeah. When you got both, you're in trouble.
Yeah, thanks for that. You're good. It's all right. She doesn't listen to this. I can say whatever I want.
She'll come walking in.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So you did the spray tanning, and then there must have been a step, because we know you got a little bit bigger business than just a spray tanning at home now. What was the step from going from home into a premise or growing the team?
So I never really wanted staff. Obviously experienced through hospitality and watching, like my husband was in hospitality and things like that. Staff was just, bane of your life in my eyes. So I was like, I want a space that self-employed people can operate from without having to sign a lease, because signing a lease is freaky.
Yep, sure.
But, it's years, and you look at how much it is and all the what ifs. And so I'd actually been going to what is now the Beauty HQ, it was the Loft, to get my hair done from my friend Donna for quite a while. And the first time I walked in there, I saw the space and I was like, I'm going to own this one day, and I'm going to completely change it, and I'm going to have my dream salon. And then probably about 4 years after that, it popped up. And we chased the landlord, and I got it.
Yeah, okay.
And took over. There was only 4 of them there. And now I think there's between 10 and 12.
Oh, it's busy up there, eh?
Yeah. Oh. So independent businesses that all have their own space. The hairdressers all rent by the day. And then all the others have their own room, which they just do up however they like and operate whatever hours they like. I'm none of their bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
So you're a landlord.
No, I'm a leaseholder.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, it's good. Our landlord's really cool. He's amazing. He was great through COVID. You know, didn't charge us anything, whereas everyone else was struggling. Yeah, so we were very lucky. Yeah.
And so what was the draw card of the place? Like when you went in there, you just liked the vibe of it, or you liked the location, or you just...
Just that it was so massive.
Yeah.
It's 300 square meters. So yeah, just the fact that it was so big and it had so much potential. It was quite a big open space with just a few rooms. We cut a few of the rooms in half. There was a barber shop in there that we made into 2 beauty rooms. Built my nail room basically in the middle of the hair salon so that we actually had a staff area, because there wasn't a staff area then, like when I took over. And yeah, it's been a pretty cool journey.
Yeah, and
Slowly doing it up.
how long have you been developing that? Like, because that sounds like you've put a lot of thought in to like know that you were going to split it off into barbers' rooms, and then all of this. Were you planning it from how long?
Probably as soon as we knew that the person that had the lease, that it wasn't working out. So it was just very fast.
Yeah, it's a waiting game.
Yeah.
Like, look, when you come up, this is mine.
And I was scared to sign the lease. It's a massive one. It's down the mountain. It's, you know, you pay by the square meter.
Yeah.
But then, my husband was just like, okay, so what happens if someone else gets that space and does what you want to do? Because no one else has done this collaborative space before. And then I was like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm signing. Yeah.
And on that, guys, it's also super important to us that this gets out to more people. So if you can, and you got some value from it, please share it on your social media. Tag your friends in it, send it to someone that you think may get some value from it.
So that if we can get on good guests and ask them great questions, then hopefully everyone that's listening gets some value out of it, and we can keep bringing on better guests with the experiences that you need help with.
So he really pushed me, so it was good.
No one remembers their failings at, when they're dying, but they do remember their regrets. So
Yeah.
it's good that you gave it a nudge and that it's working out for you.
Yeah.
Because is it 5 years you've been up there?
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah. Because was that Wendy that had the loft? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been up there when Carl used to be up there cutting hair.
Oh, yeah,
Carl.
yeah.
Yeah. So he's done my hair a few times over the years, but
Yeah. And it was turquoise and it was not. It's beautiful
I
now.
don't remember the turquoise, but yeah, it was a big, neat spot. Like it's got those like New York sort of feel to it, right? The sort of loft apartments, the big open, airy spaces, and
Yeah. It's smaller now that we've added some rooms, but yeah, the hair salon's like a huge space. It's on the Instagram, like the renovations from the start, so it's quite cool to see.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So are you still pushing like a lot of marketing for that? Do you run the socials and stuff, or do they do all that themselves?
Yeah, they do it all themselves. So the idea of it is basically they all don't want a boss. They don't want, I don't ask them what they earn. I don't ask them how many hours they work. Like there's absolutely nothing. It's just everyone pitch in and clean, and that's it basically. Yeah, we all get along really well. We've luckily never had anyone come in and, like we were just talking about, like, change the vibe or anything. So we all get along really well. We have amazing work dues together and
good community, eh?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, we're all super tight, very very tight. It's cool.
And another detail we glanced over was my husband. So you remarried?
No, I've only been married once.
Yeah. So you had your child, with the guy who left, and then now you're married. We glanced over that as well.
Yeah.
How'd you meet him?
Known him since college. He was a friend of a friend.
Yes.
Just weren't on the same
trajectory.
Yeah, you got to obviously kiss a few toads before you find your prince, right?
There you go.
And yeah, so it's funny. Like, I walked into the loft and I was like, I'm gonna have this one day. And then I saw him in Subway when I was working at Dotty, and I managed that from when my son was about 3 or 4. That's when I went full time. Walked into Subway and he was buying, obviously I knew who he was, we'd met before, and he was buying all these cookies, like all of the cookies out of the thing. It was for his work do though, and I didn't know.
Yeah, Cookie Monster.
Yeah, and so in front of everyone I said, you'll end up being a fat beep if you eat all those. And he just turned around and he was like, oh my God, Anna. And then from then I was like, I'm going to find him again. And then that's when it started.
How good.
Well, I actually texted him something I won't say
Yeah.
from my random phone number, and he didn't respond for 2 days because it was that stupid that he didn't know who it was, and he was like, I'm not wasting my time on texting about this person who's writing stupid shit. So, yeah.
That's how you bait him, eh?
That's how you bait him in.
Lucky
Yeah.
man.
Humour.
Lucky man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good that you had that feeling when you saw someone you knew. You're like,
Yeah.
you know what? I like those cookies too.
Sounds like a strong drive.
Yeah.
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 When you find something you want, you just latch onto it.
Yeah, and I think you just get like, I don't know, it's weird, you know, you get that feeling, and like a lot of people avoid it. It's like gut feelings and things like that. So many people avoid it, and then it comes back and bites you in the ass when you've had a gut feeling and you're like, I knew I shouldn't have hired that person or let that person rent the space, or I knew I shouldn't have done something. So yeah, you definitely got to listen to that.
Don't let an opportunity pass by.
And where do you think that came from? Being able to listen to your gut. Did you develop it, or did you learn it from someone, or?
I think over time just like develops, you know, you can't change what's meant to be, you know. And I say to all my friends, like with everything, relationships or jobs or anything, you can't force it, can't fake it, you know.
Well, it comes from experience in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, doesn't it? You know, you've had a lot of experience from hospitality to retail to all these things. All of them are people facing.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you're sat behind a computer screen and just enter data or something. Like every day you're dealing with personalities.
Yeah.
So from that you'll learn whether it be facial cues or words they're using, or you'll be able to pick up over it.
Things, yeah.
There you go. And then My Will Wishes, another business.
Yeah.
Boom. How'd that come about?
Oh God, what year? Almost 9 years ago. My dad, he was having like real weird feelings in his arm, and he went to the doctors heaps. They just said it's nerve damage, blah, blah, blah. And then he was driving to work at like 7 a.m. on Tara Road, and you know, everyone speeds down there in Pap. And he had a seizure and drove off the road, crossed the centre line and went into the ditch. Luckily no one was hurt because everyone's on the road at 7 a.m. I get a phone call saying, your dad's had a crash, he's in hospital, and I was working close to the hospital, so I just jumped in my car, went there. Got in there and was like, what happened? They said he had a seizure, and I was like, is this to do with his arm? Because his arm's been like really weird lately and like having random seizures. And then his clothes were cut down the middle, and they said, oh, it could be something to do with his arm. And then one of the doctors looked at the scar here where he had a melanoma cut out, and the doctor said, what's that from? And Dad said, oh, I had a mole cut out ages ago. And the doctor and the nurses all looked at each other, and I just knew by the way they looked at each other. I was like, this is that. Like it's so textbook once you actually learn about it.
Lymph nodes?
Well,
Pretty
just
close, wouldn't
it was there, but 3 days after that, we basically found out he had like 11 golf ball sized tumours in his brain, and he had 4 months to
11
live.
in his brain.
That's what was causing the seizure in his arm, and so yeah.
That's a lot of space.
Yeah. So then he had to go on steroids to like basically swell him up to make more room to stop the pressure. Yeah. So that's why sometimes when people who are on cancer treatments, you know, some either get super skinny and some. So yeah. And that's the reason why I got married also. I wasn't even engaged. But if you want your dad at your wedding and he's only got a few months to live. So it was very fast.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How long had you been dating at the time?
Like 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Me.
I definitely wouldn't have been like, yeah, if it was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, good selection of cookies. Let's get married.
yeah.
My dad's not well. We're getting married.
Yeah.
You're the cookie guy for me.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It was like, our invite said we don't do things by halves, we're getting married. No bridal party, like everyone else can just, don't need all that stress of all the other stuff. Yeah. And yeah.
And then how did that lead to My Will Wishes?
His funeral. Basically, my sister and I, we clash, but love each other and agree on a lot of things together. But came to things like what was he going to wear, open or closed casket, things like that. He, when he was sick, didn't want to see anyone because he was always this, like...
Pride gets in the way.
And then, you know, he's all swollen, doesn't look like him. People see him and freak out, so he just didn't want anyone to see him. So I was like, there's no way there's going to be an open casket. Like, you are not, this is not happening. And when it comes to my sister and I always win. She's older, but I'm
dominant.
Far more, yeah. And she was fine with that. But my uncle was like, what about people that want to say goodbye? And I was like, too bad if they didn't visit him when they were sick, like if they live here, you know. Anyway, I was like, it's not happening. Yeah, same with what he was wearing. My uncle, he should be in a tux or a suit. And I was like, he hated them. He didn't even want to wear one to my wedding. Like, he hates how uncomfortable. I was like, he's going to be in his North Power overalls because he loved his job.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And so, yeah, got my way with all of that. And then North Power were amazing. They chucked his coffin on the back of their trucks, strapped him and drove around everywhere before the funeral. And then at the funeral, the slideshow comes on and my uncle has made the basically 60% of the slideshow of the only time he really spent time with my dad, which was when he was sick, which was when he looked terrible. And hundreds of people were there. The whole of North Power closed for the day, so all the boys were there and everything. And I'm just seeing this screen with my swollen, sick dad. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to lose my shit. And then it kept going, and then I could hear people go, is that Tim? And I was just like, fuck this. I stood up, walked over the projector and just turned it off. I was like, no one's watching that anymore. So yeah, everyone kind of picked up that I was not impressed by it. My uncle just kind of looked at me like, what? And I was just...
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Big job.
Yeah, and then that's when the book came about. I was like, you know, the reality is everyone dies. It's one thing that is guaranteed. It's, you know. And so leaving your family to have to deal with those kind of choices when it then quite often turns to shit, even if it just comes down to what they're wearing. You know, what they get cremated in. No, but I want to keep that T-shirt. I don't want them cremated in that. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah. So, yeah, that's where my Well Wishes was born. And I've had, like, amazing feedback from it.
Yeah. And so if you're just going to give us a gist as to what it does and what's in there.
So basically, it's just like a diary of, like, you don't have to be terminal to fill it out. Heaps of people my dad's age and a lot of his friends and family have filled them out, and, you know, people who get the phone call saying, you know, blah, blah's been, there's always the car accidents and things like that, and then all of a sudden there's just this shock, and it's like, what music do we use? Like, what? And so it's basically got everything from what photos you're happy to have shared, what photos you don't want shared, in the way of if you've got a horrible, like, ex-husband, you know, and some people think, no, but it would be nice to have a photo of them. If you don't want that, everyone's going to have a fight about it unless you've written down your wishes. And they can go against it, but then you live with it. You know, you go against what someone's written they want, then that's on you. But yeah, photos, music, nothing legal and nothing to do with finances.
Sure.
Who you want your golf clubs to go to, whether you want a budget for your funeral, because obviously some people go all out. Memories, love letters. And everyone's is obviously very different, especially if you're terminal and you've got to fill it out fast. It's a lot more. I've had a lot of feedback from people who are dying of cancer who are filling it out, and they find it so hard to do, but then they feel that closure that it's going to help their family. Even like secrets that no one knows, you know, a lot of stuff comes out when people pass away. There's children people don't know about, or there's a marriage that people didn't know about, things like that. Just everything basically.
I suppose there'd even be space for, I never said sorry, but I should have. And, because that would be a big one. A lot of people die with regret, like, I wish I'd actually told them how proud I am of them, or whatever it may be. And
so the whole back of it is love letters, like it's called Love Letters to Those Left Behind. There's quite a lot of space. You can obviously always add, like, you know, pop some extra paper, fold it in and things like that. And I mean, if you write it when you're healthy and well, it's a nice thing to be able to finish and think, if anything happened to me soon, my kids have got these letters, and my wife, my husband got these letters, and I want this, I don't want this. Like, it's closure, but it's hard. Like, I haven't even finished mine, so I'm quite a hypocrite.
Yeah.
But because I'm healthy and well, like, mine's just full of jokes. I'm like, my two besties will stand at the door and be like, nah, you're not welcome. You can come in.
That was good.
You know, it's like, because I can joke about it, and I'm like, man, if I finish that book and it's just wholeheartedly me with a little bit of seriousness for my nearest and dearest, you know, it's like, I've even written in there that everyone has to sing quite a funny song at my funeral. And it's like, you get to have the last say, you know, and people would just be like, it's so Anna.
Yeah. And that's what it is. It's got to be a celebration of life, like the video you were saying at your father's. It's not how you want to remember them by. You want to remember the successes and the fun they had along the way. And that's what it's about.
And he just would have hated it. Like, it wasn't anything to do with me. I was just like, he stopped wanting people around, like, near the end. Why would you then show everyone photos, you know? It was, like, unrecognisable. Yeah.
I always used to love on TV or like movies when like a billionaire in the movie would die, and they'd have like a pre-recorded like thing that pops up on a screen to show the family like in front of the lawyer, and he like plays this video. He's like, if you're watching this, I'm dead. And then, you know, and I've always thought of doing like legacy videos for people. So I've never done one, but I make videos for people that just to try and portray ideas. And I always thought that would be such a mean way to remember. Like if you pre-recorded it, made it funny like you're doing, and then a video then gets played. How could you ever argue that? I made this from a sound mind when I was just having fun with it. This is what I want to do, and this is how I want to be remembered. This is a message for you once I die. And I just thought like the prep in it, I don't know whether it's good to have your mind thinking about death. I don't know about that.
You have to.
You have to. Okay.
Because if you were to record it,
say,
touch wood, say you got diagnosed, right? And they've given you 6 to 8 months to live. You're then going to go, oh, fuck, I had that idea to do that video when I was happy and well, and it would have been funny and I would have cracked jokes. Now I've got this black cloud over me, and now I'm seriously recording this because that is what's going to happen soon. And you'll be a total different person to what you would be if you were to record it today. You know, because you would sit there and get so much more emotional. And it would be more heartfelt. You wouldn't be able to joke as much because you're actually being serious. Like, shit, my countdown is on. That's why I try to get people to do these books. I'm like, the worst thing is to do the book, you know, when you've been diagnosed, because it just brings up, it would be so much harder to fill out. You just cry the whole time you fill it out. Whereas if, like, I just have some wines and I write in it, and like you just said in the beginning of mine, it's like, if you found this, I'm fucked. Like, because I'm like, everyone will laugh. They'll just be like, oh, Anna, of course she's written that in the front of her book. But I'm like, it's true. It's me. Sorry, I'm swearing.
No, you're right.
But yeah, I really feel for the people that have to do these things once they've been diagnosed, because you're a totally different person. You can't even pretend that, you know. So do it while you're well.
Yeah. So the main thing you've learned is do it while you're well.
Yeah.
Is that the main thing you've learned from what would be some of the takeaways you've learned from the experience of filling out these books with people?
I guess that a lot of people just block out death. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, so when it happens, you're forced to talk about it and then forced to make decisions. And yeah, it's just, I think just, especially when you've got kids, or, you know, a lot of partners don't get along with in-laws or siblings and things like that. And a lot of the time family take over, but yet husbands and wives actually have more say, like legally. So it's like, but everyone thinks the family should, and it's like, well, who are you actually closest with? You know, you might be worst enemies with your sibling, but all of a sudden they've come on board and taken over because they're a lawyer or whatever, and, you know, it's like...
Well, they want something in the estate.
Yeah.
That's a nice home. Or
yeah. And that's why it hasn't got anything to do with, like, money and things like that, but if you want to say you want your jet ski to go to, you know, your best mate because you know how much he loves your jet ski, there's no way that the family's just going to give them that if you haven't written it, and, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because I'm, like, a lot closer with my friends than I am my family. Like, they are my life.
You can't choose your family. You can choose your friends. So you can make sure you got a tight circle of like-minded people around you.
And obviously love them to bits, love my sister, and obviously my son's my world, but it's like they are the people that, we are like each other's rocks, not, I've just always kind of been like that.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. I'm very much the same. Yeah. I mean, I still see my mum frequently and my dad. Don't see a lot of my sister, even though she lives in town. See her once every year or so.
Yeah.
You know, we're just different people.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have any cool tactics or like things that people can do to try to break the ice for these conversations? Because I think the reason they haven't had these conversations is because every time you go to bring it up, it's like, no words.
Well, I guess normally I just, like with a lot of my friends and things like that, I just say, just bring me into it, you know, like say my story and be like, I just never want, you know, everyone to be grieving and emotions are so heightened and then people to start bickering because, you know, so many people don't make up after funerals. It's the one thing, that people are like, oh, we haven't spoke since the funeral. And you hear it all the time. And it's just like, can we just do this? Like even just fill out a few pages. A lot of my friends have bought them for their grandparents and they make time and they just say, I just want to do it because, you know, obviously eventually it's going to happen and I want to learn about you. So I want to write it for you and things like that. Or you write it and we'll talk about it, like your favourite song, your best childhood memory, things like that. So it can be like actually like a bonding time. Like most of the book is lighthearted. It's the end of it when you have to obviously write if you want to write your goodbyes or just pay up all your mates and let all their secrets out and be like, SARS.
How good.
It's,
Trail of destruction behind you.
Sounds like a fun thing to do.
It's
you know, when you put it that way.
and
I'm like, I should buy one of these and do it with my gran.
It's that's the cute thing is you can kind of like my friend got it and then bought some little post-it notes and went through and just like put them in all the lighthearted ones that she thinks that her nana would love to do with her. So she's like, okay, I want to know about your childhood and like what your favourite memory with me is and with your other grandkids. Like it doesn't have to be what colour's your coffin and what are you wearing and what's your song. Like those are very small things because it's
I think the whole process, what you're explaining here, is what I love about doing these podcasts. Like I've had a number of friends on this podcast, and I'm sitting there going, "Excuse me, you fucking what? When did you do that in your life? Like I've known you for 10 years. We've never spoken about this before.
Yeah.
And there's with your family or anyone you're filling out that book, you're going to have those same experiences. So you're going to go, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because people just glaze. Even in this podcast where I was like, well, you just kind of glazed over that. Can you just come back and tell us there? Is that, people just, their story is their story and it's normal to them, but don't realise how fascinating it is to somebody else. So to be able to do that whilst you're alive and have that conversation with your family members, that's a very powerful thing you're bringing out there. So good on you for creating that.
Yeah, I am very proud of it. And you can imagine doing it with your gran compared to doing it when she's been told she's terminal. It's like there'd be nothing worse than if she's only got a few weeks. You know, obviously older people, you know that it's coming near the end. But if you can, you know, get them on a good day and just ask even like 10 of the questions in it, just to cover the basics, then when it comes to planning, you know, you can take a photo of it and send it to the funeral director. You know, and that's the music and everything sorted, like done, without having to organise like all those little things when you're trying to grieve. Because in New Zealand, funerals happen fast.
Yeah.
You know, UK, it's over a month.
Over a month?
Really?
Yep.
What?
My dad's best friend was like, Dad died on a Monday. We said funeral's on Friday. He was like, what do you mean? So they go to the morgue for weeks.
Yeah. Is that just because they can't get them
Too busy.
processed fast
And
enough?
they don't go to houses. So Dad's best mate landed and came to Dad's house and we presumed he knew he was there and he pulled up and we said, do you want to come see Dad? And he was like, what do you mean? Like, I've already not got time to process this. I've been on a flight since Monday. And I was like, he's inside and he just lost it. They don't take them home in the UK.
Well, a lot of people in New Zealand don't either. That's
Yeah.
more of a Māori tradition or island tradition. Can't say tradition today, can I? All this sparkling Pellegrino's going to my head. But yeah, it's because my wife's Māori, and since I've been with her, we've had a couple of people in our house and stuff. Like her dad passed, and he was in our home, and you know, like it was actually beautiful.
Yeah.
Everyone coming to see the body, grieving,
Yeah.
sitting there, having a laugh. Like It's so much better than the way that we do as the average Caucasian go, oh, pull them out of the fridge, we're going to just whip them down, we're going to talk and then for an hour and then we're going to have some scones.
Yeah. No, I couldn't. I was like, because I remember like a few other people in my life who have passed away and they've come back the next day after being taken. And I just said to the guy at Legacy, who was amazing, they were so good, I was like, can you just please bring him back today? And he was back that day. So I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, he's not staying somewhere like, no, just, nah.
You got to take your hat off to those guys, eh? Like they work Christmas Day,
Yeah.
Easter, like.
Yeah. And they're
every
so
hour.
patient.
Yeah.
Like, and it's, yeah, they were amazing. But yeah, not good. And we were, but it was rough. Like in the area that Dad lived in, there were 3 deaths that were like everyone who was going to the funerals and tangies and things like that. Like it was, everyone kind of knew each other, and it was just a whole lot of funerals.
So they were going around the mall.
Yeah.
All at the same time. Oh wow.
Yeah. One was a young child from cancer. One was a suicide, and then one was Dad. It was just like 3 different. Yeah, it was horrible.
Things come in threes, eh?
Yeah, it was crazy.
So it sounds like it was a big part of your life. Should we peel back to the childhood? It sounds like he had a bunch of influences on your life, and he meant a lot. What was his role in your life?
He was
Obviously,
a
as your
little
father,
shit.
he was a little shit.
Yeah.
So that's why you turned out like one?
I'm
You're
very
telling
much
us that?
like
I don't
him.
know that. I have no data.
I'm very much like
Repeating
him.
your words.
And as I get older, I'm getting even more like him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he was a very cool dad. Like, I think he only ever growled me once. You know, he was the pushover.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, parents split when I was 4. Yeah, and you don't really realise trauma of your parents breaking up when you're little. But then I think every age it's traumatic. I had a friend whose parents broke up in college and she just went off the rails, you know, because then you experience both of your parents' heartbreak like it's your own. But whereas as a kid, yeah, as a 4-year-old, you just don't really understand it. But I just remember Dad walking down the stairs crying, Mum walking down the stairs behind him crying, and I was like, I'll cry too. So I just started crying. I just followed them, and then, yeah, that was it. But, yeah, went to his every second weekend, and, yeah, he was a good dad. He was a big kid. He was a little shit.
And as someone who's been divorced myself, when you're the person who doesn't live with them all the time, you get to become the fun parent always.
Yeah.
Like, hey, cool, we're picking you up. Where do you want to go for dinner tonight? And it's the little, you're always doing little missions.
Yeah, you've got the 2 days of fun, and then the other parent has the school lunches and the washing and the
That's right. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. You got that relationship. It must be an Anna. Like, obviously, you meant a lot to you. We agree. Yeah. So my wife being Anna as well. Her father passed about a year after our wedding. It was the same thing. Rushed the wedding. He passed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Got it him fairly quickly. Like as soon as I proposed to her, she's like, "Oh, I want him there, so let's have it." And her sister's passed since that too. So, and it's the bond that she has to him. Like she always wants to go back to Taranaki because she lived with him on her own down there because he was a teacher and he was like got a principal role down there for a while, and her mum was still up north, and so they were split. So she went and lived with Dad, and everything that she wants a green HQ. Like it all ties back to what Dad had when she was living with him in that period of time.
Yeah.
So I guess over time we're going to end up with a green HQ as well. And we're definitely buying a house in Taranaki, I'm told. I'm not moving there, but as long as we own a house down there, she'll be content.
Yeah, that's funny because I kept trying to beg the guy who bought the house I grew up in for 16 years that my dad and my pop built.
Yeah, to buy it back.
Yeah. He's like,
that's home.
I'm like, you bought it for like 120K. Why are you trying to sell it to me for market rent? Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, it's kind of how it works.
But, yeah, I know, but I'm like,
But it was mine first.
yeah. I'm like, you better leave that to me in your will. Here's a book.
Here's a look. I can help you fill it out over some wines.
You'll notice these pages have already been filled in for you. Just sign
sign
here.
the bottom.
So good. Checklist in there, eh? Is it? So you're saying in the book there is literally like a little checklist of things that prompts people to think, obviously.
just questions.
Yeah.
Should have bought one in.
I'm real keen to get one.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen to
Probably
get one also.
Because me and my
Drop
wife,
some
again,
in.
going back to my wife's, and that's probably what I was thinking when I started this conversation, is like, we're already having this conversation because all of her family, her dad and everyone's buried up north on the marae, on their little grounds up there. And but for her, she's like, well, all the kids are in Tauranga base, like all our life's in Tauranga, although her sister and stuff's still up there. We wouldn't come and visit her if that was the case because we're not going to drive up there and visit the stone all the time. And she's like, I just want to be spread on Mount Taranaki.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you have to, it's your word against everyone else's, especially when it comes to where they should be buried compared to what they want with a lot of people.
It's either that or a Viking one, pushed out in the boat. With
That's what Dad wanted. I was like, it's not legal. He said, just put me in a box.
It's got to be a way.
Yeah. Well, there's enough sharks around at the moment, isn't there?
Hopefully not.
A few great whites. So where do we find these books?
Online, so it's all just the website. I've got them all at home, so they're all New Zealand made, printed, everything here. Yeah.
So they're not for sale in any stores, just 100% online?
There are some stores, a lot of gift shops around. Papamoa Paper Plus have them. White Rabbit by, what avenue is it? By the warehouse.
9th
Yeah.
Ave.
Have it. There's a few places around, and down in like Queenstown, Christchurch. Yeah.
Nice. And did I see it's on Amazon as well?
Yeah.
There was a link there?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Get it on Amazon. So are people buying it outside of New Zealand?
Yeah. I just I don't really advertise overseas yet. My goal eventually is to, because yes, there's different traditions, but a lot of it's quite basic, like it can be in most countries, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually that's what I want to do. It's obviously not the first, it won't be the last type of that book.
Yeah.
Going
through different generations, is it? As you're sort of adapting it and
yeah, and like I'd never seen any before, but once I launched it and then I took it on Amazon, there's like a few different ones that are quite similar, but they're all obviously different. Mine's quite new, only being a few years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must have been quite a process to go through and figure out what questions to ask, what ones not to
Years.
ask, like how to word this question. So that
it was years, and I was like, if I miss one question, I'm going to be so mad because I ordered 1,000 books to start, and I was like, so yeah, I just kept waiting, and then I was like, okay, I think, and then I was like, I'm going to launch it on Dad's anniversary, so that kind of gave me a timeline.
Sweet.
And only had 100 printed to start because I was very nervous, and then sold out in like 4 hours.
oh wow,
How
That was
good.
cool. Yeah.
how'd that happen?
Yeah.
Just advertising beforehand.
What kind of advertising?
Shows there's a niche
Just, Facebook and Instagram.
So it was just you doing selfie videos saying, hey, I've got this book, I think it's really important, or are you posting pictures, or how are you?
Yeah, pictures of the book, and then just like, a bit of information about it, and you have to get to the point straight away, otherwise people are just going to keep going. So it was just like, basically,
Yeah.
you're going to die, so no.
Yeah.
But nicer, and because it says like easing the pressure on loved ones through productive planning, that kind of catches people, and they're like, oh, what do you mean? And
Yeah.
it is productive planning, and it's something special. Like I always say, if Dad had filled one out front to back, it would be the most important thing in the world to me, because every time I find his writing anywhere, I'm just like, oh, I love this. Like handwriting is, amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing your wife would be the same if she like has her sister's cards or letters from when they were kids or from her dad and things like that. It's like I've got Dad's writing tattooed on me. He just wrote everywhere all the time, and so
back in the time when they knew how to write too, so it was actually looked beautiful.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if that book was like filled front to back, I would probably get it copied like 6 times and have them in all different.
Yeah. Put it on a
In
box.
case the house burns down, one's over there, one's in another country safe. Yeah, it's just very personable. Yes, you can type it all up, and a will is very straightforward, obviously, not personal at all. But yeah, just reading their writing, I think, just brings you so much closer to them.
And what's the writing your dad's got on your arm there?
So Dad was a naughty boy, but he was also religious, and every time he would go into an op shop or anything, or stay in a hotel or anything, he would buy or steal the Bibles.
I suppose that gives him a reason to go back to church.
So didn't really know what to do with like 17 Bibles when he passed away, because I was like to my sister, you can't bin them, can you? And I just took like 2 or 3 of them, and then he highlights things all through it, and so I was like intrigued at what he'd highlighted and things like that. And on the inside of one of his Bibles it says, "To my daughters, see you in heaven, I love you, Dad," and that's what I got on there.
Oh, how good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's
So
really
I
cool.
found it after he'd passed, and I was like, Lisa, look what I found. She was just like, shit.
Just happened to be in one of the Bibles.
Yeah.
Is that one of the 3 that you initially took? Or
Yeah.
so you just happened to take 3 out of like 10 or so?
Yeah.
And that message
And that's
inside.
what was in the front cover.
The universe works in funny ways.
Yeah. And because we hid it from him that he was dying, he didn't know how to use the internet and things like that, and we just said, you've just got to do, sorry, I shouldn't do that. You just got to do like your chemo and your radiation and things like that, and you'll be back to work next year kind of thing, just to try to like keep him
Keep his spirits up.
going. Yeah, but then he kind of lost his mind basically the day after the wedding. Just kept himself together for that. And then, yeah, so when I read See You in Heaven, I was like, damn it. He knew, you know, without telling us. He obviously had like, I guess your body would tell you, right?
Yeah, some way.
Know how you feel.
Yeah.
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 10 golf balls can't feel mint.
Yeah. Wow, amazing that it grew like that, eh? And the only signs were his arm. And that morning, though, he said he was in the shower and his arm had like a massive seizure and was like hitting the top of the shower and he couldn't control it. And then he drove to work, and that was obviously the sign that he probably should have gone back to the doctors. But he'd been so many times saying it's nerve damage. But with melanoma, unfortunately, a lot of the time, once you're at that stage 4, there's really not much you can do.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Um,
very vicious.
I'm pinching myself about this book because, like, my grand's not doing so good currently. She's had like a seizure and she's paralyzed on half of her body. And I, like, throughout all my time in Tauranga, used to just go around to her house every second week, and on Tuesday and we'd go out to lunch at Palmer's and we'd just sit at lunch.
In
and
Welcome
sometimes,
Bay?
Yeah, Welcome Bay. Yeah.
I went there
And-
the other day.
Yeah, because she was in the retirement village right next door.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, and we'd sit and have lunch, and then I'd drop her back at her place and like clean the flies out of the lights and stuff, and we'd end up chatting, and I'd ask her questions about like Papa and like what my dad was like growing up and all that kind of stuff, because I knew like, oh, it's good stuff to know. I never asked these questions, and it was just me and Gran, and then I never wrote anything down, and so I can remember some of the yarns, but it's like not written down anywhere. And I would love to have had a book like that and fill it out along the time as I spend all that time, because now I'm unsure. I'll try for sure to fill out the book with her, but it's just, it would have been an awesome thing to fill out like a few years back.
Because even if she
As
doesn't
opposed
know
to
that
now.
you're actually filling it out, like even if you just voice record it on your phone so she doesn't feel like you're doing something thinking she's not
She'd love
good.
to fill it out.
Oh, yeah.
She'd love to
Being
attempt
good.
fill it out. She
Yeah.
loves it. Yeah, I still yarn to her for hours, like when I meet up with her, but you got to weather her out of her place and go to little cat. It's just much more admin,
Yeah.
and it's not very much freedom or time. But yeah, and she loses concentration halfway through a sentence sometimes and goes, wasn't important. And it's like she knows it, and it's so great. I can't knock the attitude,
Yeah.
because she's just like, well, you can only do what you can do, and it's not like I'm getting younger. So if I forget my sentence, I forgot my sentence.
Yeah.
How's your day today?
How's the weather?
Yeah. What else we got to talk about?
Old people are so cute though, eh? It's hard watching
Yeah.
them lose it though, like slowly, just
Oh,
horrible.
so much patience, and so much like just looking at the bright side of absolutely everything. Just being like, well, my arm doesn't work. I try to make it work, but it just doesn't. So it's what I'm dealing with. And lucky I'm left-handed, because it's my right arm that doesn't work,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And she just looks at all of that, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, they're lucky they didn't, like, you know, need social media and need all the acceptance from.
They definitely seem to get to an age though, and I believe we will, and we're probably at my age, not too far away, I hope. But you get to an age where you're like, you know what, all that shit doesn't matter anymore. And people tell me that all the time. You know, oh, you get to 50 or 60, like none of that shit matters. Like I don't care if I'm fat now, or I don't care this, or I don't care that, and other people's opinions don't matter. Because I think that's just you've experienced enough to know that actually
What matters is like what's actually around you.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and what you think of yourself, not anyone else.
Yeah.
Like, you can't change other people's opinions.
Exactly.
You could be sitting here going, why the fuck am I sitting in this podcast with these two dickheads? And we don't know that. So we're having
Am I not making it obvious?
we're having a great time. But, you know, like, your opinion is none of my business.
Yeah,
But when
and
you
yeah,
get to
that's the
that-
thing. But kids now are just getting brought up to like care about all these randoms following them and liking their pictures. It's like I couldn't think of anything worse than randoms seeing my life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Whereas they're all about how many followers they've got.
Yeah.
Yep. But in their mind, they're thinking that equates to some more money that they can use to then do cooler stuff. And so that's why they're trying to get people to follow them. It's like
It's clout, eh? It's
Yeah,
this
yeah.
clout thing. But it's, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm out there quite a lot on social media, but that's to try and grow all the businesses.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's
yeah.
like social brand. And I'm just me. I'm not trying to be anything
Yeah.
that I'm not.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was at the gym before, I saw this two kids. They would have been like 18, 19, I don't know, working out. But were they working out? They were sitting there on their phone like this. And I actually thought they were asleep. They were both like facing each other, looking away from the work. You know, they might have been using machines. I didn't really see them use them. I was about to take a photo. I was like, is this guy actually asleep? Like, he didn't even see thumbs or anything. Just
Yeah.
oh, don't take your phone in the gym anymore, Jason. If you look like that guy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I see
Leave it
that.
in the
Yeah.
bag. Yeah,
I'm like, do they just go there to take a photo in front of the mirror to act like they've been at the gym?
yeah, that's
And then
what
just
I
go?
do. Doing 75 hard, guys. You see, I was at the gym. Nailed it.
walk in there, take a photo. Later, boys.
Yeah. 75 days later. Why'd you put on so much weight during 75 hard?
I built lots of muscle.
Yeah.
You just can't see it yet. Yeah.
And so these are the businesses you have got. Have you got any stories about businesses that you tried but didn't work?
Probably.
Here we go.
Well, there's been more, is it?
I'm just one of those people that when I have an idea, I have to like do it right then and there. I don't think much through.
Yeah.
With the book I did, but I don't know. I did for a while. I was doing like some photography.
Yeah.
More for brides to do for their husbands for the photos on the morning of the wedding day,
Oh, yeah, nice.
which
Oh,
was
nice.
pretty cool.
Husbands love those
Yeah.
ones.
My wife did that.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're freaking cool. I really enjoyed it, but I had everything else going on as well. I sold nail glitter. I bought the business and then had $3,000 worth of glitter in my nail salon.
So is that supposed to be like a distributor? Or?
Yeah, it was good, but it was super busy. So I sold that on.
Small margins.
Yeah,
So
and
you gotta
just
do a lot of sales to make a profit or make it worthwhile.
yeah, and then just competition kind of got bigger and bigger, you know, because then AliExpress and things like that come, you know, Temu, Shein, all of that now, and
Same
it's like
happened to us with gibbets.
yeah, it's yeah, but yeah, heaps of little things. I still have got more I want to do. I'm not too sure on what, but yeah, I'll kind of always have something on the go.
So what's a week in a life look like? Because you've got obviously the headquarters and you got your wool wishes. Like, is it a 40-hour week? Or do you spend a couple of days on each? Like,
I study as well, so that's kind of what's taking up my time at the moment because I've got an exam coming up.
what are you studying?
Diploma in legal exec.
Okay.
I want to end up doing something between, the legal system and social services, so something.
Okay. So your heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
Good on you.
So at the moment, I'm working down at Historic Village. I only do 20 hours a week there.
Yeah.
So we help people basically figure out their finances. We help them with bankruptcy and insolvency and doing their budgets and food parcels, food grants. We refer them to them. Work alongside MSD, WINS, just heaps of different other social services and government-funded companies. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I should get your details because we definitely see people in the finance game that need help.
Yeah, so it's free financial mentoring. They do up a budget, they go over everything, see what's coming in, see what's going out, and yeah, it's good. Yeah.
So how'd you get into that?
I was only meant to help out.
Yeah.
Because the receptionist they hired rang on the Friday and said, I'm not going to take the job. She was meant to start on the Monday. So my mother-in-law, who's on the board, rang, and I wasn't working at the time. She was like, can you just go help out down at Historic Village for a few weeks till they find a receptionist? And I was like, yeah. And then first day in, I was like, I love it. I'm staying. And yeah, been there probably 8 months.
And so what is it that really draws you into it? What draws you in?
Helping people.
Yeah.
And like a lot of them are quite quite troubled.
Yeah.
A lot are homeless, a lot are in emergency housing. A few people are in, women's refuge and need their safe places organised, and yeah, and a lot of them just want to ring and talk.
Yeah.
And so I answer the phone and then I'm like, okay, well, it's been 40 minutes, I should probably go and do my job. But yeah, it's so rewarding. Yeah, and a lot of them are very cute. Like the ones that, we look after their money and things like that. So a lot of them, their wages or their benefit come into a bank account we've set up for them, and we pay all their bills and give them an allowance every week. And some of them have been with us for years and got thousands and thousands saved, and yet, yeah, they don't even really know it.
How good.
Yeah.
It's so good to know that's there, because people's spending habits are terrible.
Yeah, gambling and
how do people get a hold of those services? Like, because I remember when I worked at the bank, there was this one dude who used to come in with an empty trolley car once a week, and then he'd get the cash out for his shopping and then go off with. So he'd already have the trolley with the stuff to kind of hold him up, and he never really had much. And I remember, he had a savings account with no money in it. That was costing him $7 a month just to have the savings account, and a whole bunch of little things that I saw in his setup. And I remember thinking, this guy's got no idea. It's part of the bank's KPIs. I saw the employee that had put the savings accounts on there. So it's the KPIs to get the savings accounts on people's to get those $7 a month. And then people are putting savings accounts on these people who don't even know how to use a savings account and get their weekly allowance out on cash. And then paying. So for someone like that, how do they find out about these services and get in touch?
We get referrals from a lot of social workers, a lot of other government-funded businesses, non-for-profit. Here to Help You is I don't know if you guys have heard of that. It's you just call an 0800 number and they will refer you to wherever in the social services field they think would suit you. So whether you need help with budgeting and things like that, or they'll refer you to WINS or Salvation Army, or all of us kind of, all work together. And so we get a lot of referrals through them as well.
Yeah.
And now with Food Bank, because everyone is entitled to 4 food support packages every 12 months, regardless of your income, regardless of anything.
Really?
But people don't know that. So, yeah, you can get husband, wife, and 3 kids, and you can get the help 4 times a year. It doesn't matter. It's absolutely not about what you earn and what you've got and whether you don't even have a mortgage or anything. You're entitled to it. And so now what they've done is when you hit your limit of 4, you then have to engage with a mentor to try to figure out why is it that you're not making ends meet.
Yeah.
The mentors advocate for people against ACC, check that you're actually getting your entitlements from MSD that you're entitled to, because it's not like people are going to go out and say, hey, do you know you can actually get this supplement and the accommodation this, and so our mentors help people with all of that. And so now with Food Bank you have to see a mentor once you've had your 4, and so that's actually working really well, because then we're getting people who don't know how to manage their money then admitting that they're spending money on things they shouldn't, and we see their bank account. And so a lot of people are just slowly learning how to budget, and it's quite a good little thing.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome what you were saying before, how you actually take the account and give them the money that they require.
Yeah, so those are total money management clients, which we've got. I think we've got about 140, 150 Tauranga locals who are on total money management.
Yeah.
So they just ring and say, can I have $40 this week for my haircut?
And there could be so many more.
Yeah.
So many more that they probably just don't know it's there.
Yeah, and you've even got people that have got too much money that gamble it because they've got too much. So
Expendable income.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like a cocaine habit or any of those. The more money they make, the more
you spend it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where been having nothing sometimes makes you really healthy. You can't go out drinking, doing drugs or gambling in a lot of ways, right? You just getting by on ends meet, but it's actually all you need to survive.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
And the more you have, just the more you spend, right?
Yeah. Lifestyle creep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not cheap to run. When you were talking about that bank account, I was like, I've probably got a few $7 a month accounts that's sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
Across 4 banks, I'm sure I've got a few of them.
Well, it's just heartbreaking seeing that guy. Because,
Yeah.
like, I just cancelled those accounts. Like, was like, bro. And then I remember talking to my manager, and then basically the only thing I got back from that is just that's the way it works.
Nah, yeah, and
it's
that's what
changed.
ours.
It has
Yeah, and that's what the mentors do. Like, there's with hire purchases, afterpay, things like that. There are legal limits on what you can and can't do to someone who's borrowed money from you. There's a percentage and things like that, and so yeah, sometimes they'll look at the fine print and be like, no, ring on their behalf and be like, yeah, because sometimes if people borrow $200, they end up paying back $500.
Because they don't understand it. They just sign away.
Yeah.
We're actually seeing that on our side. So we're getting the triple, exactly that. Finance has come through and they go, hang on a minute, why have you given this person a loan? It's like, well, actually, this is the information to hand. This is why they got the loan for this reason.
Yeah.
But if on our end, if we skip one thing and we're given the loan, it's not in their best interest.
Yeah.
You get slapped with it. And I turned one away this week. 10 per week, buy now, pay laters. $600 odd going out a week and buy now, pay laters. I was like, nah.
Yeah, and that's what.
This isn't, I can't work with you. Go and, someone else might do it, but I don't want you on my books.
Yeah. We can also apply for interest-free loans for up to $5,000 through another government-funded organisation.
Yeah.
It's called Ngā Tangata Microfinance. And yeah, so if people are stuck and they need like debt consolidation of just, a few bills put together, they can work with a mentor and apply for that, and then it's interest-free and get it all covered. And yeah, there's heaps of loopholes with all the companies that work together.
I'd really like to get some details that I can just forward people to, whether it be you or someone else, or just a website.
Yeah, they just
or
ring
something.
and we've got heaps of different locations.
Yeah.
Historic Village, we've got a walk-in clinic in Maryvale, we've got Wednesdays at Fraser Cove, and then Te Puke, Katikati, Hillier Centre, Papamoa. So yeah, there's heaps.
Yeah, because I've had a couple of people like make stickhead comments about my car and stuff, saying that basically I'm a loan shark, and so that's far from the truth of what we do. Most of what I do is set people up in business, for starters.
Yeah.
Give them the assets they need to earn it and come and improve their lives. Sometimes that doesn't work out for them, but you're giving them the chance. But in our business, Quantum Group, we've got KiwiSaver, we've got mortgage, we've got personal loans. So we might finance your car, but then we'll go, well, why haven't you got KiwiSaver? And then we'll get you into your KiwiSaver so that we can get you into your first home. Like, it's a life cycle of the customer.
Yeah.
And if they're not there yet, we want to be able to help them so they can get to the place that we can help them in the future. So having some kind of tie with the likes of what you're doing would be awesome. Yeah.
We do KiwiSaver hardship too. They have to engage with us to get that out.
Yeah, which is terrible because you're robbing from future self and retirement and stuff, but sometimes your back's against the wall. You get what you get, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's happening a lot now.
Would be.
With everyone struggling,
Yeah, inflation.
Well, so it's just everyday people coming in saying, hey, can I get my KiwiSaver out? And then you put together a case for them and they just come into a walk-in clinic.
It's happens? A few appointments, of getting everything together because you've got to do it right. Otherwise you have to, do it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people needing it. But then a lot of people just think, well, it's mine. Why can't I get it?
Yeah.
It's like, well, because at the end of the day, if you don't need it now.
You can't just have gone on a holiday and then come back and then go on, I don't have enough money and, this is a bit stressful, I need it.
Yeah, you have to prove hardship.
Yeah, and hardship means like defaults in your accounts, they're not paying people. Like you're in a bad place by the time you can get that money out.
Wicked.
Well, that's been fascinating. So where to from here? So study and into that. Going to start up another 3 or 4 businesses that just roll by on the.
Don't know. I'm going to the UK this year. I might just not come back. Yeah, I don't know.
Solo
Think of
trip,
something.
is it?
Yeah, it is. It's just me going to see my bestie. I can't wait.
Oh, amazing.
But yeah, don't know. Trying to kind of figure out something I can start to do with what I'm studying and what I want to do. Yeah, got lots of help, like from people in the industry I'm in. So just have to kind of pinpoint what I want to do and then go from there.
Won't sort of tie into the Will Wishes in some way. It's going to be separate to that.
Separate. Yeah.
So the Will Wishes and the Beauty HQ, they just run life, and then you do this job out of kind of passion.
Yeah.
And then you just fill up your time with whatever you can along the way.
Study and wine.
How good. That sounds like a great life. Sounds pretty free.
I just have to keep busy.
Yeah.
Can't sit still.
Yeah. Well, that's been awesome. Well, thanks very much for coming on. Nothing else you want to cover off?
No, we'll be here all night. I just need a top up.
Yeah. We'll get you a top up.
We'll get you a top up.
Thank you for having me.
No, that's good. So the websites for both your companies, if people want to find you.
The Beauty HQ is just on Instagram and Facebook, and then all of the individual.
And where will they find that at Beauty HQ? Is it?
Yeah, the Beauty HQ.
So
The Beauty
THE,
HQ.
Beauty HQ.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Will Wishes is www.mywillwishes.com.
Boom. There it is.
There you go.
All right. Well, thanks again. And look forward to this one going live.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming on.